Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Before we start, I want to thank all the people who are watching the videos on YouTube and those of you who are sharing it. Those of you who make the likes and the comment, thank you. You're helping somebody new see the video. But I want to ask all of you to do me one favor. Don't watch the video on YouTube from the channel. If I want all of you, we're trying out something. We want this video to go to more people. And you're helping that happen. So if you're going to be watching this recording, you start watching it, you see this. If you can stop the watching the recording, go to YouTube search, enter Forex trading free webinar. This video and some of my videos will pop up at maybe on the top page, maybe not. Scroll down to my video, maybe this date video. Click on it, watch it to the end, and then click share. At the bottom of YouTube, share it to anywhere. Share it to Facebook, share it to LinkedIn, share it to whichever social site you have. We're trying to see if we can make the video pop up on the search when somebody type the word Forex trading, if it can pop up on the top so that more traders can see it. The whole point is getting the video to more traders. And I hope you can help me do that. If you like what I do and you think it's worth seeing, please share it. That's the best way to do it. Right? If you don't see it, and if you don't see today's webinar when you Google it, you can click anyone and let them run, and then you can go back and watch today's webinar and share it as well. Thank you very much for that help. So I'm hoping that over the weekend, we will see massive amount of people, over 1,000 people go Google search and not Google, YouTube search, share it, and that might help another 1,000 people see it. Great, let's go. So we're right now, and by the way, I will also make a short video about our group because there's a lot of new questions about the group coming up. People want to know what we are doing and how the group is structured and all of that. I will do a short video probably over the weekend, put it out for you guys. You can do the same with it. Watch it, share it. Let's go. So we're down on the silver, and the question still is open what this pattern is. There's still that chance that it could become a running flat, or we could be reversing to make a new high. If this is all the correction, let's say this is all the correction, 1, 2, 3, we can go back to make a new high or a running flat and then totally drop. Either of those two patterns are absolutely valid now. So let me make one comment here, because someone of the troll who couldn't actually make his comment in YouTube because his comment is filtered, sent me a message and said, you look very confused and you're confusing everybody. So to that person, I know you're watching this video. No, I'm not confused. Actually, I've never had a clearer vision of wave analysis ever in my life that I'm getting right now. My group will tell you that. The 400-500 people in my group will confess to that, and they will let you know. And the ones who are active in our trading room will tell you that. The reason I'm giving you two options is because of the clarity of my vision of how wave analysis works. That's the reason I can tell you that those two possibilities exist. I can give you more possibilities you want, but for the starting, we're going to go with those two possibilities. And that is very, very important. Anyone who tells you that it's upside only and that is it, have no idea what they're talking about. Let me repeat that. Anyone who tells you that this thing is going to only go up here, whether he is right or wrong about it, has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea how wave works. If you have the simplest, the basic ideas of how wave works, how this wave behaves, if you know anything about them, if you've been tracking them as intense and as long as I have been doing this, you would know. And my group is learning that right now. A lot of traders in my group who I think are very, very successful, still having some difficulty sometimes with some of the patterns. And that is what we do every single day for the entire day in our trading room. Break up the patterns, figure out the possibilities, see how we will take advantage of the possibilities, implement the strategy, and deal with the outcome. That's what our trading room does on a daily basis. I'll show you more details in the webinar. So no, I'm not confused. You are. Let's go. He's watching this, so he'll get the message. So we're looking at a possible flag here. It might have been finished. The flag might have already finished in the 1 hour, and we're expecting this to probably come back here. It could still be a flat, but with the speed with which this is going, I think we're going to go up. When we get here, we'll watch for a possible running flat. Downside, if we see that there's a continuation, we will go break the top. And this would be all the consolidation. Now, I can tell you with my experience, I don't think that is all the consolidation. We're not going to the details of why, but that is not all the consolidation. We'll see. we're trading it. So you can look for a buy setup here today. You're getting a 1 hour flag, and that is good. It's probably going to come down one more. Be careful. It is probably going to come back here and then go, because the internals of that shows that the possibility of it coming back one here before it go exists. You can still put your entry order. This is how we will trade it. We'll put our entry order, we'll put our stop, we'll implement the strategy we're using for this trade, and we'll be looking for this. If it doesn't go the way we expect it to go, and that is possible, that it will not go to the target you expect it to go, or not as fast as you expect it to go, or how you expect it to go, we manage the trades, and we have a set of rules on how we're going to manage every single trade in every single situation. So it's like a blueprint for every single possible trade setups we see. We discuss every single one of them, and we're actually taking the trades live, and we're managing them live. And these are traders in my group who are doing it live on their account, and they're making money. So you could decide for yourself. You want to join these guys or you don't want to join them. Let's see if it goes down to the bottom, go back up. We're looking for this upside, and we'll see whether it comes to this level. Gold, I did a very detailed explanation on gold, I think, for my traders. I don't know if I've posted that on the yearly chart and what are the possibilities, how this could develop. And I told you yesterday, we're looking at a possibility of it coming back here and then downside. I don't think we're looking for gold to break the top. Now, gold in a yearly structure, this is an all-time high for gold. And this might be a possible running flat pattern forming right now on the yearly chart, which means there's more downside than upside possible. I don't know if I did it here, we did it in any of the webinars. If I didn't, I will do it over the weekend only on gold, give you the full details. You can look out for that one with all the details and the time factor and everything included, from the yearly way down to the 60 minutes. So what we're looking for is a possible buy setup here today. We'll wait to see whether this comes back here. And if it decides to go back up, that would be a buy. If they're going to drop lower than this, we will decide if we want to trade. There's a possibility for them to drop lower if we consider this as a running flat, or if we consider it as a contracting flat. Both possibilities are possible. Both possibilities could happen. So what we're looking for is we will try to get the trade to the upside, let it come back first down, and then we would put an entry. If it goes back up, we'll be in the trade. If it doesn't go back up, we'll consider whether we have a sell setup. Maybe it's going down, but we don't have a sell setup, which means we wouldn't be selling it. And if you want to know why you see it going down and you're not selling it because you don't have a setup, you would learn to trade. Because we have strategies as to when and how we're going to enter a trade. Not because it's moving, we're going to get in the trade. It has to confirm that it's going to go at a farther target for us to get in the trade first. Dollar index looks like some downside forming right here. This could turn out to be a flat for downside, or it could turn out to be a flat for upside. I think most of a flag here for downside, or if it goes back to the top, we'll be looking at a flat for upside, more upside, but that would be a bigger flat. So you wouldn't get any buy trade today. You'd be looking for a buy trade sometime next week, but we can get a sell today on this. Euro, we can get a buy on this. You see this piece here? This is going to come down a little more. Let me show you the details of this. I think this could come down. It already broke the low, but there's a chance they can go a little lower. And then we will be looking for a buy setup. Now, if the buy setup goes short here and we think that is going to be a sell, we'll look for a sell setup. If this continues to go, we'll stay with the trade. So you want to know what makes you think it's going to stop or it's going to go. We look at a higher time frame. And based on what we have here, remember we were selling it coming to this target. This could be the end of it. They don't have to go exactly to the target. So if we get a turning point, they will take the trade to the upside. If we realize it's coming down, which means the structural internal structures are showing us that, oh, this is becoming a flat, not a flag for the upside, but a flat for downside, we'll sell it. We'll sell it for one more impulse down. Only one more impulse. Pong. Pong looks like sell. So yesterday we were talking about, we actually bought this yesterday. We closed the trade for positive because it was not going. And this actually looks like it's going to consolidate some more here. I think you can see this piece coming here. You'll probably see it go back up. Break the top. You might even see it come back down. You might see it go back up. You might see a series of those connections. And if we keep getting this, we'll be looking for downside. For us to get a buy here, they'll have to break out very far, make a flag, and then we'll consider a buy. So right now we're considering a sell on this. So you may say, why do you think euro is going to go up and pound is going to go down? Well, because if you look at the euro pound chart, you'll have a good idea, right? This thing looks upside right now. See, we're looking for a possible up move on this to break that top. Now, it might consolidate in here for a while, but we're looking for that to happen first before we look for the downside. So that could happen. You could have pound dropping and euro going up slightly for this move to happen, and then they could change directions, which means that they could continue. The pound could turn up and go to the upside. The pound doesn't have a big move to the downside. If this is going to fall, it's going to be a very small move to the downside, because in the bigger picture, pound is, if we think this is a running flat, we'll be going up. If we think this is not a running flat for upside, then this correction has to get bigger here before we get downside. So right now, this flag would only give you one drop, and then it will either make a deeper correction for downside, or we're going to go back, retest the top. Those two structures are different. So when they start to move, we will see which one it's making, and then we'll make the decision as to how we get into that trade. So right now, it's at a point where it's, even if it drops, it's going to be a very, very short drop. And there are many other things in the chart that we look at beside the internal structures and all of that. Is there divergences? Isn't there divergences? The series of things that you make. What is a bigger time frame pattern? What is a smaller time frame patterns? You know, it's complex, but it's doable. So right now there's a small trade here. I don't think you want to sell it. Like you didn't want to buy it. We bought here and then we closed the trade because we realized it's not going. We're looking at this. I wouldn't be selling this for a drop because I think they're going to go back up. I think they're going to come back down. I think they're going to go back up. And I can show you each one of those patterns in there. For now, we are leave it alone. New Zealand, we are already in the buy. I think it will come back down. We're looking at a possible running flat on the 15 minutes. We saw this. We put the entry order because sometimes you get contracting flats. I think they'll probably come back here and then they're going to go. We'll have a perfect flat pattern there and then we're going to go. So we're in the trade already. It doesn't matter. We have a stop at the bottom here. We'll manage the trade. We will never live with this stop. For us to get stopped out there, this thing has to do this immediately. We're rarely stopped out where we put the stop loss. I think my traders have learned that technique now of reducing your risk. So you put 1% risk there, you hardly get a trade that we close for 1% risk. We close most trades for break even or 0.5%. And I'm telling you about the trades that do not go. The ones that go, you don't have to do anything. They take care of themselves. My traders have learned that motto. Trades that go, they will take care of themselves. Trades that are not going, you have to take care of them. And if you can do that, you'll be a successful trader. Pretty easy. So we'll watch this trade. I still think it's upside. Remember, I told you yesterday we were expecting this to go back up. As long as we haven't broke this low, we're expecting it to go back up and probably as a bigger impulse. If you break the low, it will still go back up, but now it will go back up as a running flat. So there will be more downside once it goes back up. That's the only difference. It will still go up. This is about to finish and it will still go up. We're in the trade. We'll see how that goes today. If this trade doesn't go, we'll take another one. And then we'll take another one. We'll try to get all of them for break even. Eventually, we're going to get the one that goes. Right? And you get the big trade. Aussie, this one we're not in as yet because like we sold this, take that off. Those were sell trades, take that off. We're looking for buy trades now. Come on. I want this to first go back down, and I think we're going to get this trade down here. And if we see this as a flat, we'll look for this trade up. See? Is that trade going to go? Maybe, maybe not. If it goes, we'll get a very good trade. If it doesn't go, we'll manage it to break even. So if you're new to this and you want to know what the hell is this guy's talking about, this is called wave analysis. Go watch some more of my videos. You'll probably learn about it. So let's see. I think it's going to go up either as a bigger correction or as an impulse to the upside. Swiss. We're still expecting a running flat here. It may or may not happen depending on whether we looked at this as a contracting flat. Possibility for a contracting flat exists, or whether it's going to go, depending on what happens here. Every flat we can buy. So right now they're making a flat there. See, they made a flat here, they go up. They made a flat, they go up. They made one yesterday, they went up. It was a very small one here. They went up, but now they're coming down. I think this is making a flat. I think you can already see that. It's probably going to come back like this, especially if it's a running flat. If they break the top first and then come back, that's a good trade, right? Like this one, running flat. Like this one, running flat. So if they break the top here, make a running flat, come back here, and then go, then we will enter the trade. You don't want to enter this trade too early. Let them give you that drop again, then you will enter the trade. Then you look for a trade setup. I think it's going to be a flat because I can see them going sideways. So it's very likely going to be a flat, but you're going to get a drop like this. See, they go up, then they drop. They go up, then they drop. They go up, then they drop. You just learned something there. If you don't know anything about wave analysis, you just learned something. So wait for the pattern and then look for the buy. Yen, we're still in one trade here. We'll consider whether we'll close it because I think this is making a bigger consolidation. We close the smaller ones. The last one we closed is the one we took yesterday. We closed it this morning for break even. We have an entry above the top, and there's a reason we have the entry there. It's above the top. We're not in that trade right now. If this takes off, I think at somewhere here they can take off. That would be a good trade. If they come deeper, we would look for a bigger correction and then go. So that trade will come off, and I don't know if that trade is going to go today. There's a very high possibility that they make a bigger correction like this right here. But if they do go, we will be in the trade. We think this is going to go up quite a lot. This is about the fourth trade we're taking in this one. We booked profit in 1, 2, 3 of them. This one, 2 of them we booked the profit. This one we are still in, and we've closed a couple for break even. So we're expecting this to come back to the top there. It doesn't go in a straight line, but sometimes they do go very fast. Let's hope this takes off very fast. CAD. This may be a running flat. I'm looking at a possibility of a running flat here. So this might go up back to retest the top here. I can't say for sure that we are starting that bigger correction. We can't say that for sure because it could still possibly be this running flat, right? Until we exclude that running flat, we can't confirm that it's going to be the up move, but it doesn't matter. You don't really have to know that exactly now. The pattern is still in the making. And when something is in the making, you will not exactly know if that one is excluded. But we will know. That doesn't stop you from trading, right? The trade setups you get, you'll take. So we're looking at this to see whether this will become a flat for upside or a flag for upside or a flat for downside. Right now, if it stays here longer, I'll actually take this out, not to give you bias, because I understand why I put it, you might not. So we're going to put this low here. If this stays within this here for a period of time, and then go back there and come here, we will end up with a flat here, and we'll be looking for a sell setup. If they're going to go up, they have to go now. So if it doesn't go now within an hour or two, that means we're going to expect this to go down much more. We're going to expect a bigger correction in here and then downside. Which one? We'll see. Aussie yen. We're expecting upside on this, but I don't think it's ready as yet. This impulse is very short. We'll see. I'm not looking for a sell setup in this one, so we'll leave it alone. Aussie Swiss, same thing. We showed you all these patterns yesterday. If you haven't seen yesterday's webinar, go look at it. I showed you all of this on the daily structure. This could be the end of it and they go back up, but I think they can come down some more. So we will watch this to see whether we get a buy setup, clear buy setup, or whether we're getting a sell setup. Because we're getting this. I want a flag. That is a running flat kind of pattern. I want a flag here before I buy. If I get a flag, we'll buy. We'll look for buy setups. But most likely we're going to be buying the Aussie dollar rather than buying this. Right? We might most likely be looking for a buy in the Aussie dollar. Aussie CAD, same thing. They break out here. This could be a good buy. Right? If we get a flag here today, and I'm waiting to see whether we get a flag here today. If we get a flag here, that could be a good buy. And especially if you get a classical flag, which means they go sideways. They don't go downwards. They just go sideways. Euro Oz, same thing. We have to decide whether this is going to be the top of the correction, whether that is the top or whether they're going to go a little more. It looks like Euro Oz is more of a consolidation for upside. Right? This piece looks like it's consolidating more for upside, and the downside might start later. But let's see if they come back here and they start to drop. We know how to trade this. Right? My traders know how to trade that. So we will get that trade and we will be looking for a sell here for downside if we see that. What if they just go up from here? We're not interested. I'm not interested in that. So it will go without me. We'll be in some other trade. At the top here in a structure like this, I'm never interested in a buy. I don't care what happens. I'm not interested in a buy at the top of a flat structure like this. It doesn't make sense to me. This could go higher. I'm not saying it can't go, but I'm not buying when I get to that level. And you shouldn't too. If you understand anything of how wave patterns behave, you shouldn't do that. Because I can show you a ton of them that will get you in trouble if you do that. Right? So let's go. Aussie, New Zealand. It's going to go up one more. It's just not ready to go. And I don't think you want to trade this. This doesn't have the best trade setups in it. In that it's not really moving very fast. It's moving really slow. There's an upside forming here. It's going to probably come back to about this level maybe. And it could still go down. If they break out, then we'll look for buy setups. Euro, New Zealand. Okay, this one broke out. We're getting it. Let's see what happens at this point. They have to tell us whether this is going to be downside from there, or if we're going to consolidate here and go up more, right? Why it could do both of them? Because of this piece. This is the piece that is bothering me. If this was a sharp wave, we'll be selling. But that is not a sharp wave. It doesn't negate the fact that it could be the A wave. It's just not confirming the fact that it is the A wave. So there are two different things. It's not saying that cannot be the A wave. It's not telling us that that is the A wave. If I was pretty sure that was the A wave, we'll go ahead. That looks to me like more of a flat of a 1, 2, 3, and this is the start of an up move. But we know New Zealand is going up, and we know both, Euro looks upside too. So whichever is going to go faster. If Euro goes faster, this goes up. If New Zealand goes faster, this goes down. We don't have a conclusive buy or sell pattern here. We don't have anything that says buy or sell here. If you were selling here, that's a very, very small one. But we can get that within today or tomorrow or Monday. So if we get this correcting here for a while, well, that will make our trade, right? Like we had this buy setup, see? And then we had this buy setup. We had that buy setup. We don't have it. This is a small one in the impulse. So if we get a big flag here, we'll get a sell setup. If they go back to the top and then come back like this, we'll get a buy setup. Well, until we get one of those two setups, we'll just leave it alone. EuroCAD, we're looking for a short-term buy here. Very short-term buy if you take it. That is going to probably bring you back to about the top here, or maybe the top this one. And from that point, of course, you can see this thing is just going sideways. You'll exit the trade. See, they're going sideways, but upwards, which means they can go a little more up, but then we're expecting it to go down, right? So right now you're doing this upside in it. If you look at the drop here, they pull back to the top there and then drop, they pull back and then drop. So we're getting a pullback up there and then we're going to get a drop down here. So there might go a little more here. And then if we can take that trade, and then we'll be looking for the sell setup. 1 hour. It's going to go up a little. There's an hourly trade today. Maybe that's all you get in this chart. See, there's a nice flag here. You're going to probably come break this top. Maybe that top. That's a nice trade. Short term, you get the trade, take the trade, get the hell out of it. Euro yen. I think this is pretty clear. If you've been watching me for any period of time, this is pretty clear downside. The only question is it going to go now? I think we might be able to make the argument for them breaking out now. Or they will probably stick here for a while more and then break out. But this is going to go downside. And then from that point, we'll see what happens. We wanted it to come back to about this level. Remember when this was happening and we were going up, this is going to drop. If you were with me, you would know I would always say this is going to drop. Well, it drops. So I think there's probably one more drop here. And then I don't know how far it's going to go. I'm just going to make an average that's going to go there. There's many reasons why we don't know exactly where it's going to go. But from that point there, once that is finished and it turns, it's going to go right back up. See? Pretty easy. It's going to go right back up to the top. Euro Swiss. Okay, so this went up. We were looking for a sell yesterday. And like I said, the only thing that will make me decide to buy this is if it goes really sharp and then make a flag. So this running flat here, stop here, go back up, or we're still in a bigger flat. I'll check this piece to see if we have a contracting flat in there, right? There's a likelihood. I don't think this is the end of the running flat. It could be that this is the end of the running flat here. This piece is 1, 2, 3, where this didn't break this low, but it broke that low. That is possible. And this is going up with a small flag in here. But we will not buy that. Every time you see this pattern, you do not buy that. You wait for a sell setup. Now it's up there. It's still going to come down. Here's the interesting thing. I think this might be what we'll be looking for. Kind of a 1, 2 with a contracting flat in here, 3, and downside. That is still going to come down. I still don't see that as an up move. This whole thing finish 1, 2, we will come down for the 3. right? It is going to come down for the 3. So I'm not interested in the buy. If I get a sell setup, we'll take it. We don't have a sell setup here. So I'll just ignore this to do what it's doing, and then we'll look for the sell setup when we get the sell setup. Because the big move is to the downside. It's not to the upside. Europound, same thing. We'll probably get one more up. I think you can see that very clearly. We're looking for one more up, and then we're looking for the downside. So give us a trade to the upside, break the top. It might or might not break that top. They could also come here. I just want to give you variations of how it could develop. They could come there, come back down like this, complete the pattern like that, and then go. I think this is very likely. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. That possibility exists. Or you would look at this as 1, 2, 3, with this one having 3 waves in it. That's the end of this flat, and this is going up. You can take this trade. Worst case is going to be break even for us. We will take the trade. Worst case is going to be break even for us. But if it goes up and break the top, then we will get that one. Or you can totally ignore it until they break the top, and then you look for the sell setup. This is going to be 1. This is going to be 2 if it comes here, or if it stops here. This is going to be 3, and then we look for this one. You can't have it more crystal clear than that. See, this was a sell, and I warned you this sell might not go very far. If you were there yesterday, you can look at it. That sell will not go very far because this pattern is incomplete, and we don't know what it's going to do at that point. Well, now we have a clearer vision of what it's going to do because we have more parts to it. Right now, we understand that this could be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and they go back up. It's not going very fast. Okay, they might make 1, 2, 3, come back here, and then go. And this would still be a flat for upside. See, just a clearer vision of what the patterns are doing. This one might not go far. It will be like this one. If you took that trade, you got break even. If you take this trade, you will get break even. Worst case. Good case is you get a small profit, and then you look for the sell. Pangos. We're looking for downside. I did this also with you yesterday. We're looking for a possible running flat. And if you take this one to see, then they don't have to be equal, but sometimes they're close to equal. So it will give you an idea of what you're looking for. We're at the top. So if this gives us a flag here today for the downside, we'll be selling. We need to see a flag here. We need this to go back up, make a flag here, and that will become a sell setup. Let's see if we get, what if they go back to the top here very high? Well, let it go. We're not interested in a buy. I don't have a buy setup here. I'm interested. The buy will probably just break the top again once more. The buy will break the top again once more. If they consolidate very big here, let's say, to make an assumption that they consolidate here very big, then you'll probably get one more impulse, and then we'll drop. That's all. It's not like I don't see the possibility for one more up. It's that the one more up is not the big move to the upside. Right. Pang Yen? Yep. This one is either going to turn now, or it is going to, I think like the Euro Yen, you'll get one more down. Let me just bring it. So take this off, put this a little lower, and put this here. So like the Euro Yen, I think this is consolidating. You can see they're going up, down, up, down, up, down. They'll probably come back here. And we might even tag the low, break the low like this. This becomes a flat. We break the low, and then we go back up. So I think that is what's going to happen. What if that doesn't happen? Is it ready for the upside? Well, normally they don't go there looking like this when they're making an impulse. They'll make an impulse, they'll make a flag, and then we'll take the trade. I just showed you one, so you don't have to guess what it looks like when you're looking for that trade. In New Zealand dollar, see? A sharp move up, wait for a flag. See? Sharp move up, wait for a flag at the top there, and then we trade it. Okay? It's coming back, so we'll get a very nice running flat, and we'll put the entry order above the top there. We're already in the trade, but if you're not, you have a better advantage of putting the entry order above the top. So we're looking at a possible running flat in the making here. We saw that this morning. We decided they could do it, and we decided we were going to put the entry order and see if that happens. See, pretty easy. So let's go back to the Pang Yen. See, this is not showing me like it's going up. It's kind of making a flat, so we'll probably retest the low and then go. Pang CAD. Okay, if this is a big expanding flat, now remember we thought this yesterday, this piece here yesterday was going to fall here and make a regular flat. and then go up. Well, they break the top. That's okay. They can break the top, just like yen, the New Zealand dollar just did. They broke the top. They come back down. They give you a possible running flat pattern. See that? 1, 2, 3. It's possible running, expanding flat in this case. Maybe no, running flat. I didn't think we break. And then we probably will be going up. So you can look for a buy setup here. If you have a strategy how to trade that, that's a good trade. We would expect it to come here and break this top at least, and then maybe even go much more. What if they go slowly like this and they start just doing this because it's starting to look like they're going to drop one more? Just what if? There is a pattern that makes that possible. We'll get the hell out of the trade. That's all. We have rules that says if it doesn't go that much, we'll get the trade. If it doesn't go the way we want it to go, we wouldn't be in the trade. Pound Swiss. This is looking like a big flat for downside. This is looking like 1, 2, 3, probably come back here, maybe break down, maybe go back up. It doesn't look like the start of a big move to the upside as yet. What are we expecting here in the bigger picture? On the bigger picture, we're expecting it to go back up. But I don't like the way it's going. It's going very slow. See, we expect this to go back up. This should continue to go. But the depth of this pullback and the slowness with which it's going, right? The depth of this pullback here and the slowness with which it's going is not very convincing for the upside. As yet, it still looks like a possible flat. So what would be a trade setup that I would buy? Well, if they actually consolidate here within this piece, if you actually stay here and decide to break out, we will take that trade and then we'll put it to break even. Either this continues to go or they stop and they start to pull back and you get a break even trade. See? So if that happens, if you get a complete flat pattern here, we'd look for a buy setup. Because the big picture is upside. Maybe this is a deep pullback, but now they're going to take off like a rocket. That happens sometimes, especially on this trade. That happens a lot. I'll show you a few places where they got those very deep pullback with big flats and then eventually go. I think right at the top you will find here, right? This one wasn't deep. I'll show you one that was really deep. I think way back you have to go on this one, right? Look at the depth of this pullback. When you are here and you get a pullback that is this deep, you're thinking of a flat that will come here and continue, right? But then they actually drop all the way. So this pattern, I know this chart makes those deep pullback. I remember it very well. So we will consider this could go. We think it's a flat, but it could take off. So we'll consider that buy. Because this looks like a pattern that has completed itself and ready for the upside. So we'll look for that trade. Let's see. Pound New Zealand. Same here. The problem is we wanted it to break that low to add confidence to the upside, and it hasn't broken the low. That doesn't mean it can't go up. There is no necessity that says it has to break the low. But if the low was broken, that would have been wonderful. All right, so let's see. Do we have upside in this thing? There was a buy yesterday. You closed that trade already, and we don't have anything here. They have to consolidate. If we get a consolidation here, we'd look for that trade. We don't have anything there to trade. So we'll stay away from this for a while, let it prove the trade, and then we'll take it. No sell setup here. New Zealand yen. Okay, the New Zealand yen is another trade that we are looking for. That is going to be a running flat. See, they broke this, but this will be a running flat here. You can already see that. So I think this would likely come back here. And if it comes here, the buy is going to be valid if they go back above the top. So if you're in the trade here and they come back here, no problem. If they go back up at the top there and start to do this, we'll exit the trade, we'll look for this and then go. So we assume that this is going to be a running flat also this morning. We saw the possibility for that, right? So let it come down a little. I don't think we're going to drop. This is a sharp move. There'll be a running flat there, and then we'll be looking for a buy setup. If it is not going to go, we'll get rid of the trade. New Zealand Swiss, same thing. You're looking for a possible running flat here. Come back to this level. And then if that is a running flat, proving it's a running flat, sorry. If this proves a running flat to us, we'll look for a buy setup. New Zealand CAD, this doesn't have it. This here doesn't have a buy setup. This actually is starting to look like a sell setup. So we'll have to wait until we get a very sharp impulse, a flag, and then we'll consider anything. Do we want to sell this? I think no, you just stay away from it. If the New Zealand is going to go up, you wouldn't sell it, you'd stay away from it. Cat Swiss. Cat Swiss went higher. We had a perfect looking expanding flat here. They drop a little, went higher. We looked at it. I left it because we were looking at we were looking for a sell setup. We were looking at a big expanding flat. And that turned out not to be an expanding flat, or it's a bigger expanding flat. It could still be an expanding flat, but a bigger one. And that happens. Sometimes you get 1, 2, 3 in this, and it's a bigger expanding flat. I still think it's an expanding flat. See? I still think this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if we get any sign of a sell here, we'll go for the trade. We saw this, but the buy is not the best trade, right? Because the bigger picture does not show you an upside, right? This is the bigger picture, right? You don't have an upside trade in that. See, when this was forming and this broke out to go up, we didn't buy that because we saw a possibility for a flat. So if this starts to give us a sell setup here today, we'll go for that trade. If it is going to stay here and consolidate, we'll leave it alone. If they go back up, we'll leave it alone. There are better trades than that. I still think this is the correction. We're going like 1, 2, 3. We could make a bigger correction. We can make a 1, 2, 3, come back here like this. And at this point here, we'll see whether we're looking at upside. So right now, we leave that alone. Swiss yen, go back to the 1 hour. It is going to be a flat. Once they come solo, we're looking for a possible flat. And the possibilities, they'll come back one more up. The one I was showing you here was this one here, internally, right? The one I just moved out. That is 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2. Let me show you the 15. We actually did this in the trading room to show the details. So there's a flat in the middle. Those lines that I move out, there was this one here. See? That's this flat. 1, 2, 3. So yesterday when this was happening, I was telling my trader it has to come back down because we have this down move. Well, we're down here now. We have to go back up because we have an up move. Let it come back here and then we look for a sell setup. Let's go back to the 1 hour. And only if this goes back, take this out. Only if this goes back up like that, then we would look for a sell setup, right? If it doesn't go back up, we're not interested in the sell, right? We're not interested in the sell. See this here? This is a symbol of 1. See how deep this comes? 2. They go back up. Now you get the sell. See this here? 1, 2. You go back up, then you get the sell. 1 up, 2 down. You go back up, then you get the sell. 1 up, 2 down. You go back up, then you get the sell. You see, right? You know, this is not magic. This is just a lot of research, a lot of knowledge put in it, and it's all based on knowledge. You can go back and see what we showed you. Mexican. You're getting a deep correction, so it's probably going to be, is it ready for the downside? It could be. This could be a running flat. And you might be going down, right? Remember we said it's going to come up and then it's going to go down. So you got the upside. You can go back and look at yesterday's webinar and the previous day's webinar and the previous days, the whole week webinar to compare and see what we're looking at, right? So now they have to talk to us. Just like this for the buy, if this becomes a flag for the sell, you can sell that, right? We give you this buy, we give you that buy. You're going to get this sell if it forms there. So if you get a flag, go for the sell. If we don't get a flag, we'll see. By the way, I'm not making trade calls. I'm showing you how wave analysis works and how you should trade it in wave analysis. Of course, if you understand wave analysis. If you don't understand it, then just leave it alone. Don't until you learn it. Don't try to trade what you don't know. Same thing here. This point, they have to tell us whether they're going to come back down or whether they're going to break out. We don't have anything right now. Same, you wait for flag, and if you get flag, you can sell. Right? This has a potential for running flat, so you'll be a little more careful with this one. Canadian, looks like one more downside. It could be the start of the upside. Remember, the pound cat has a similar structure. Deep pullback here, very deep pullback. This will tell us if this takes off here today. If we get a flat here, oh, sorry, wrong one. If we get a flat here that takes off today, that could be the start of the up move. This thing has to go back and tag the top on the daily. So there's a good chance we want it to come back here. We want this to come back here. But because it's looking so flat, I'm not sure this one is going to go, which means if this comes and break here, it will make one more low, and then we will still look for that move. You can sell this, move your stop, see how far this goes. If it goes way deep back to the bottom, if that comes back all the way to this low, we will be looking at a much bigger flat in the middle here, a much more bigger and complex flat, which means up and down is going to happen for a while. But if this goes up here today with a flag, if this completes a flag and take off to the upside, well, then we can go for that trade. Because sometimes they do make a big flat at the bottom here and then go right here. This is a good example. Look at the flat at the top here. They still came down, right? Probably go back and find a few more where they made a very, look at this flat here. See this up move, then you got a big flat here. They still went up, right? So this is nothing compared to what the bigger ones you have that you can go with. Oil. Oil is kind of going sideways, and we close the possibility for a sell because it's very, very much at the top there. It could still come down. It could still come down, but you're making this pattern here now. And you would look at this one here, right? So take this off so you can see the pattern clearly. We would look at this now as a expanding flap. 1, 2. This is coming back here, right? You got this. You get that, you come back here. There's a sell setup to come here. Keep your eyes on it. If you trade oil, the break of this is a sell setup. Of course, you wanted to break that a little more. Maybe go up a little more and break this. And then we'd look for this trade down to complete this pattern. Or totally downside. I think mostly it's going to be a flat there and upside. Right, because then we will come back and confirm this one, this big running flat. So if you get a flat here, at some point you get a flat there, and then you get the upside, that would confirm this pattern. And it's possible. You've seen these flat. Look, there's a flat here, upside. There's a flat here, upside. Right, so this flat could be a flat there for upside. We'll see. First, you get a sell. Right, first you get a little sell. Take the sell back to this level, and then manage the trade to see whether it's going to turn or it's going to continue to go. Very likely it's going to turn. I actually like this setup. It's much better now, right, than the smaller flag they had here. UK oil, very similar structure. You could put this here, and you could remove this. And very similar structure. Nothing much has changed. You're still in a flat-looking pattern here. This could go a little higher. It could break that up. It doesn't have to break that up. They just need to break this top. They don't even have to break it, but need to break that up for a regular flat, which they broke already. And they can come here, they can don't go there. It doesn't matter. It's not, there's no, as a regular flat, you already have it. If you put it like this, you have a regular flat with an expanding flat in the middle. See, you already have that structure. It can drop anytime, but sometimes they crawl up higher. I would not put that for a buy. I'll be concentrating on this here, right? You kind of make a move up, a move down, a move up, a move down. You can put that as a flat. This one is going really, really slow, probably like that, and then downside. Is it going to break this low? That's a good question, because if they break this low, we're going down much lower. But if they just stop short here and decide to go back up, you will get this bigger correction here. But this is a trade you can go for, just in case they're going to drop through the bottom. Right? If they are going to, then that's a good trade. If they're not going to, then you're okay with the trade. Right? So we were thinking that this is going to go lower, because either you're looking at this as some kind of a structure that is ending at the top there, not necessarily an ending diagonal, but a structure that's ending there, or this could be a running flat and we go up. Either possibility are still open, because if you look at the trade in terms of those two, both of them are correct patterns. So the next piece of move will determine which one of those patterns is actually the correct one. Because as it stands right now with the information you have, both of them are possible. So we'll wait and see. We'll put it like this and we'll wait and see. You have one option for downside. I think this is most likely downside, and there's a reason for that. And this one might confirm the downside, but right now this is most likely looking upside. The two structures are different. There's the big difference in the two structures. We can look at that later on. Natural gas, I hope you got the trade, right? All you have to do is put an entry order here. If you trade natural gas, is this real? It's amazing if it's real. We know it's going to go up, but that sharp, if that is a real candle, I hope so. I haven't seen it. I'm seeing this for the first time today. We haven't seen this as yet. But if that is real, you got to trade, because you sit here, you just put an entry order above there, and you should be in that trade. If you trade this, you definitely have to be in that trade. I don't trade natural gas. So that's a trade to the upside. Let's see what we have here now. Could it be we're starting the bigger correction to the upside? Let's see in the weekly. I don't think so. We did break this low. Yeah, we broke that low, but it doesn't look convincing at the bottom here. The bottom piece is not very convincing. So if this is going up and we can end up at the top here, is that the start of the impulsive move to the upside? If that is the start of the impulsive move, just keep buying. You just got into wonderful buy. Just keep buying. Because I think this one should have gone at least one more down because of this piece in here at the bottom. Because of the slowness with which this went down. This went down really slow. I was expecting a flag and a fast drop, so we were thinking they could go lower, but it didn't go, so we'll see. Watch this. Just keep looking for flags and buying. Just keep looking for flags. You're getting another flag. So you had a perfect flag here for a buy. And you're getting another flag here. So if that price is real, you're in profit. Pretty easy, right? I'll take this off NASDAQ. This is, I will put this on because some of our traders trade these three. They trade this one, they trade this one, and they trade this one. All have the same structure. Very, very similar structure. All of them have the same structure. So now they're going to tell us whether this is the running flat and one more up, or whether this is starting a bigger move up and we have a running flat that is somewhere here, right? Both of those possibilities exist. And that is not confusing. That is understanding the possibilities in the chart. So if you are a little confused about it, then you need to join us and let us teach you how it works correctly. We really don't have a setup as yet here because you only have one move up and one move down. So that's not a setup. But within a day, within today or tomorrow, we will know whether we're going up or whether this is going to be a big flat for downside. Either is possible now, and whichever one we get, we will look at the internal structures, we will recognize which one it is, and then we will make our trades accordingly. Right? So if we see that we are getting the flat for downside, we'll look for a sell setup. If we see it's a flag for upside, we'll buy it. At this point, it can do either of the two. And that is because of this bigger structure. See? That is because of this bigger sharp drop. You always get those pullback. See this one? When that happened and they went up, we knew this was going to come down. When this happened and they went back up, actually, I have a forecast telling you this was going to go back up. You don't have to trust me. My traders would know this. And if you go back and you check my webinar anyway between here and here when I did webinars, there are free webinars on the YouTube for that. You will know that we were expecting this to come back down here. If you go back and I think in TradingView, I was in TradingView then, and you would see this this one here drops, right? And this one went back and everybody was like, oh my God, this is going to drop forever. I was like, no, from here, they're going to consolidate in here and go higher. When this first drop happened, I told everybody, don't worry, they're going to consolidate in here. That trade is actually on. Check the time, October 15, go back to October 15, and you will find that trade there. It's actually there. When the first drop happened, this is going to be a correction and we're going to go back, right? And you can go back through the charts and you're going to see that. And that is why here is this one. See that drop there? Look how high this went. It did come back to finish off a running flat pattern. And they do this every single time, no matter how high that goes. Compare that one. Let me take a snapshot so you can have an idea what I'm looking at. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to stretch it so you can see how this one is much bigger than the one we're looking at right now. Let's just take this and carry it up. We'll bring it to where we are right now. And we're going to put the first drop, this first drop to be equivalent of this one, right? So let me just see if I can stretch it. Good. Not so much, not so much. Why is stretching so much? Good. Put the first one to be equal to this. We're going to make it slightly smaller. I don't know why it's getting so. Come on, not so much. Trying to catch the exact size is the problem. Good. I can't get the exact size. I'm trying to get it, but it's not. Whatever reason, it's either getting too big or too small. That's the closest I can get. But you can get the point, right? That when you had the first one here, look at this, how it went. It still dropped, right? So this is your first one here. This move is not big enough, which means this can go like this and still come here and then go back up. And that will be a running flat. The time span for this whole thing to happen would be about 5 years. That is with this B wave here and that. Now, it not necessarily have to go up. That's the next thing. This thing could come down like this, very slowly like this. Go back up, come back down, and then go. And all of this will be a 5-year period. Right? So is it going to go up slowly and then come back down? Or is it going to come down, go back up, come down, and go? There are variations of how this could happen. There are many variations. That is why I'm telling you that the possibilities we're going to come back here, that this is already coming down very slow. Or we could use this as a running flat, go back up one more, and then start to come down. So this pattern is going to form regardless of what you think. Right? It doesn't depend on what you are doing or what we're doing. It depends on, you have to look at the chart and let them tell you what is happening. So is it going to go back up? If it's going to go, we'll wait for a setup and then buy. Like we waited for setups and sell. We waited for setups and sell. Wait for a setup and buy. That would be an impulse to the upside. You can buy it. We'll see. Next. It's kind of looking sideways. Let's see if they consolidate more here, we will drop, right? If this consolidates much more here, like this, if they consolidate that much, we will look for a downside. If they're going to go back up very sharp, we'll look for a buy setup. We don't have a buy setup now, right? There isn't a buy setup as yet. So if it consolidates, it's going to consolidate for 2-3 more days. You take off the buy setup, we look for a sell. BA, more sells. We already give you this sell. It's more sell. They're coming back to the low. GE, more sells. They're coming back to the low. This one, more sells. You're coming back to this low. This is the only one that didn't break down, but it will. They actually went up. Remember I showed you this piece that they're going to come back to the top here. And then we were expecting that pattern to go down. Well, they went a little higher, no problem. I still think this is going to be more downside. Let's see. We'll see from this point. We're expecting a flat here. If this makes a flag, if this piece here comes back with a consolidation here, that means we'll cancel the downside and look for more up. What will be the up structure? Let's see. Now it's just going to be a deeper correction. They'll come down. Even if this goes up some more, they'll probably do this, but then they're coming down. So it can go up some more, but this picture is going to be downside. So it's just a question of whether it's going to drop now or it's going to drop later. So if you're buying this, you'll have to buy with caution because the upside is more of a correction, right? So if this comes back here and you get a buy setup, one more up, you can buy. They'll come back, give you a buy setup, you can buy. But this is short term because the big picture is down here. Is it going to drop now or is it going to drop later? We'll see. Nifty, still going down. Big expanding flat is still going down. Look for sell setups and take trades. You don't have any sell. You had a sell setup here. They're making one now. It's forming. You'll get a sell setup eventually. Downside. And let's see if you have, yeah, you could, this could go more. Wait for flags and sell. We could come back all the way to this low. So wait for flags and sell. That's a big expanding flat, by the way. That is huge. We have one like that at the Aussie, but it's an expanding flat. So if you remember, what I was looking for is something like this. Because this coming down was a B wave and this should drop. But then it went like this and we said maybe this should drop and then it goes like that and this is dropping. So look for more sell setups. Wait for flags, look for more sell setups. They make a 1 hour flag here, you get a trade. Okay. It still is possibly a big expanding flat. Alliance, Okay, this might have made a top, might have topped out at that point and coming down. This one was going up nicely, but then it suddenly stopped. So there was a short sell here in this one. You got another sell here. Wait for another flag, take a trade. Wait, if it makes another flag here only, then you can sell. Don't try to sell it while it's moving. Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin didn't come to this level. It didn't break this one. They broke this one. If you sold that, you got out of that trade. And we were expecting them to break this one more down. And now they gone up. So let's take this off and see what we're going to look for in Bitcoin. This is possible up, but not as it. We haven't broken this low. So there's still a chance for more downside, just a deeper pullback. Let me show you the big picture in Bitcoin, what you should look for. This is Bitcoin chart right now. You've got to move up. You've got to move down. You've got to move up. You've got a correction down. You're getting a move up. I would like to see them break that up. Complete a flat pattern that we know. And then come down back like this. You think we're going to retest that area? I'm telling you, they will retest that area. Right? If this simple flat pattern works out, and this is a simple flat pattern right now, go back to the top there, break that top, and then come back all the way back here before you eventually go up. This would be the bigger flat pattern. See? So there is a chance they're going to go there. Now, the question you would ask, well, can they actually stop right here and go down as a contracting flat? We call those contracting flats because can they go down from this point and start to go down like this here? That is possible. So we'll go into this and we'll see whether we're getting that setup. So we had a sell setup here. That was good. We had a sell setup here. That was good. But this sell setup is not breaking the low. We need this to come break the low and confirm upside after that, right? So if this comes back and drop to this level and we decide that this is going to go up, we'll look for everything that tells us it's going to go up. You will look for buy setup from the break of this low to go. If they consolidate here again, you can just keep selling, because that is likely going to become a very, very big downside. So I wouldn't be buying this, not until we break out of this structure. Put this here. That's your impulse down. Take this off, right? That's your impulse down. This could become a bigger correction here, something like this, and then drop. If you get this, you sell. We're not buying until this thing breaks the top there and make a flag here. Then you buy, and you're buying to retest this top here. Once you break that up, you have to be very careful because it's going to come down back. Right? This is a simple flat pattern. It can become a more complex flat pattern, but then it has to come down and then go back up and come down and go back up and then drop. So every time it goes up, we will assume that this is the drop. Will it get more complex? It's still going to drop to get more complex. So very likely, if this is going to go up, I would let it go up, let it break out of this, and then look for a flag to buy. This is a sharp move down. So I don't see why they can't consolidate here and drop. I don't see the up move in that as yet. There is no up move set up in that thing as yet. So don't chase it for the upside. Wait for it to break out. But for the downside, it's sharp. They'll probably consolidate here and then drop. XRP, this could go now. On the other side, this could go right now. This doesn't have to drop anywhere. This could go right now back to the top. And where it's going to go? Well, this is what you have on the XRP. That's the top. This is all correction. We could still be correcting some more here, right? I mean, correct, even if you want to go down lower, I don't think they're going to go much lower than this. This was the low, right? That was the low. Can they go much lower than that? Yes, they can go. We can expect this to go much lower. But right now, it's showing upside. You've made a move up. You got a correction. You made a move up. I think this is a correction for at least one more move up to the top there. Now, is it starting from this point, or is it going to go a little lower? This played out. The Bitcoin one didn't drop. This dropped. See? Both of them had the flag. This flag broke. Oh, well, Bitcoin went up. So what you have to do is wait for a flag here and repeat the same thing, but now to the upside. So like I said, if Bitcoin break out and make a flag, we get a buy. I'll rather buy this one because this is a more sure pattern for the upside if this happens. And if this happens, you're going to get one more impulse. We will want it to break out of this structure. So first you would look for a flag, wait for it to come to this trend line, break out of the trend line, break this top, take your profit because it could go back down. or it's going to continue to go, which means you take your profit and you re-enter in another trade. ETH, we didn't break the low. So if they stay in this one, it becomes a bigger flat. Put this stop here. It's not going to be, it will be a bigger flat for downside. Or we didn't break that low. So if they go back up, this could give you an upside. It'll give you a flag here and go like this, maybe go very slow like that, come back here, go back up, and then you'll get a flag a pattern for downside. So there will be a buy setup here. You'll either get a sharp move or you'll get a slow move. Right? So you can look for that, but it's within this range. I don't think we're breaking out of that range. Let me just show you one of that and go to probably daily. Yep, this is the pattern. This is the pattern we want Bitcoin to make, right? You have that move up, you have a move down, and you have a move up. Right? Bitcoin didn't break the top. Could Bitcoin come down now without breaking the top as a contracting flat? Possible. This here could come down already to this level. We're already breaking out. We've got a sharp impulse and we're going sideways. Could this be a 1, 2, 3 to go back up? Maybe, but I don't think so. We haven't broken the low. So what I'll be looking for is them consolidating within this zone. Either consolidate to the bottom here and drop, or consolidate within this zone here and drop. We'll see which one, right? 1 hour, you can look for a buy setup, which means you want to see this makes a flag here, and you can look for that trade. That's it. Or if this comes back way to the bottom here, let it go back up and then look for the sell. Like I said, you can see these patterns will form. And when the patterns are formed and we see a complete pattern, then we take advantage of that, because we know when you get a complete pattern, the direction is going to go on a lower time frame. And then you look at the bigger time frame to tell you where the bigger trade is probably going to be. See, pretty easy. Yeah, it's that easy if you know it. If you don't know it, you're going to have one hell of a trick figuring out. You wouldn't even understand what I'm talking if you don't know what I'm, the wave analysis. Same here, this is going sideways. It means we're going to consolidate here. We're going to consolidate here and then drop again, right? Because they're going sideways. You're going to probably get a move up there, a fall here, go back up there, and then you look for downside. They did it here already. You know what it looks like. So this one is not looking upside. Not right now. Big picture, what is this doing? Yeah, it's coming down. See, we already showed you from there that it's going to come down. So this is coming down nicely. They'll consolidate here and they'll drop again. They'll consolidate and drop to break this low. And when they break the low, then we'll look back at the structure and we'll see, is it complete the correction for upside? So come back to the 1 hour and you probably consolidate here and then get a sell setup. So be careful. I don't see a buy setup. Even if you get a buy setup here, it's going to be short term. Probably get this, come here, get that, come there, and then downside. If they take off like this, they have to break this stuff before we decide that it is turning into a buy setup. They're actually going back up. I don't see that possibility as yet. It still looks very much downside. We do have some divergence, but this sharp move down is not convincing you of the upside as yet. And we don't have the setup for the upside. So all of you, it's a Friday. Have a great weekend. If you're one of the traders watching this video and you like it, please share it. You know how to do it. Look at the start of the webinar, what I say, how you can help us. Share it. You can share it as well as help more traders get to see it. The 1 week free webinar is over. I will keep posting webinars for you, but it's not going to be on a daily basis. These daily webinars are webinars that my trader get. The webinars they will use to learn to trade. Traders who are in the subscription program, which means they're not subscription installment program. They're paying for the course, but they're paying in smaller volumes of money because they can't afford to pay it immediately. Some traders pay it out 3 times, some pay it out 5 times, some are paying it in, 6, 7 months. Depends how you can afford to pay it. They pay for the course, and while they're paying for it, from the time the first installment is made, I give them this webinar for free. It's absolutely free. You're not paying for the webinars, you're paying for the course. But you get it free to start work with. If you like these webinars, you know what to do, right? Send me a Skype message, and we can discuss how you will get them. Take care. Have a great weekend. I will see my traders in the trading room soon. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing. Bye-bye.